In this video, I'm going to react to the M61 Vulcan. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now here we go. This has been recommended so many times in the videos that I did for the B-2 bomber, for the F-22, for the F-35. I don't know why it's taken me this long. I think subconsciously I've been trying to ration out these like badass weapon videos just so I don't, burn them out too quickly. This one I think is going to be a lot of fun to watch just because this is meant to be like the ultimate weapon. I mean, the amount of projectiles and these things, the projectiles that this thing can spit out are like huge. Like I'm looking at the thumbnail for the video and they literally, the projectiles are bigger than the guy's hand. And it spits out like, I think hundreds of them, maybe thousands per minute. I've got no clue, but yeah, it's just got a cool name as well. The M61 Vulcan. It just sounds like it's not to be messed with. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to why the M61 Vulcan is a Gatling gun on steroids. Let's do it. Just look at the size of them. The projectiles.
The M61 Vulcan is a Gatling gun on steroids.
The noise it makes, man. Gosh, that must just strike terror into the hearts of its enemies.
It isn't possible with the human eye to see a bullet as it leaves the muzzle of a gun. But in the case of the General Dynamics M61 20mm rotary cannon, it isn't just a single bullet that can't be seen, but literally hundreds each second, with a rate of fire that exceeds 6,600 rounds per minute.
Whoo! 6,600 rounds a minute. That works out to be about, I believe, is that 30 rounds a second? 30 rounds per second. That's insane.
That's more than 100 rounds leaving the barrels each and every second.
Wow, I was way off. I was way off. Goodness me.
The key to this is the barrels, 6 of them, which are electrically driven, allowing for both the lightning-fast cyclic rate and in helping keep the barrels from overheating. This also increases multi-hit probabilities when compared to a single barrel.
Oh, the noise it makes, I'm telling you, it is just, it's unnerving. It almost sounds like a buzzsaw, like brrr.
The Vulcan War Born. While this might seem like cutting-edge 21st century technology, the original M61 was developed after World War II by General Electric and first introduced in 1956.
Gosh, what is that part? Is this the power generation system, like maybe a generator?
But the concept to utilize multiple barrels dates back a century earlier. It's based on the Gatling principle, which permits a high rate of fire while also reducing heat and barrel erosion. The M61 Vulcan is the deadly weapon of the Civil War-era Gatling gun, developed by inventor John Gatling, who wasn't looking for a more effective killing machine. Rather, he developed his rapid-fire gun as a response to the carnage he witnessed during the American Civil War. Gatling saw how many more soldiers died of disease than from gunshots, and sought to develop a weapon that could supersede the need for large armies and believed that deaths from the disease would be diminished. General Electric took up Project Vulcan in 1946 to develop the 20mm rotary cannon that could be capable of firing 7,200 rounds per minute.
Wow. So even back then, there was a weapon capable of that rate of fire. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the film The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. I mean, you know, the samurai, like in that movie, were just an absolutely amazing unit, you know, just very disciplined. But as soon as they came up against the Gatling gun, it was over for them. It was over. They just got mowed down.
The use of multiple barrels minimized barrel erosion and heat generation, which prolonged the weapon's life. In modern aircraft, the M61 was designed to be hydraulically driven and electrically primed. It was also developed to utilize a linkless ammunition feed system. A new Gatling gun? With the development of jet aircraft, engineers with the United States Army Air Force determined that a higher rate of fire would be necessary and determined that single-barrel revolver cannons would not be up to the task.
Seeing it in slow motion is just so cool because so much happens. You know, so much happens that we don't see, you know, from the ignition to the firing of the projectile to the smoke, the air, the vapor escaping the little holes here.
Instead, designers of the Armament Division of General Electric considered the 19th century concept of utilizing multi-barrels instead. General Dynamics, which acquired the Armament Division of General Electric, currently produces the M61A1 and M61A2 improved versions, with the latter being 20% lighter and is meant for applications where weapon system weight reduction is critical. Most aircraft versions of the M61 are hydraulically driven and electrically primed. The gun rotor, barrel assembly, and ammunition feed system are rotated by a hydraulic drive motor through a system of flexible drive shafts. The round is fired by an electric priming system where an electric current from a firing lead passes through the firing pin to the primer as each round is rotated into the firing position. A lighter version of the Vulcan developed for use on the F-22 Raptor, designated M61A2, is mechanically the same as the M61A1, but with thinner barrels to reduce overall weight to 202 pounds. The rotor and housing have also been modified to remove any piece of metal not absolutely needed for operation and replaces some metal components with lighter weight materials.
I wonder if this variant is as effective in terms of its rounds per minute as the A version, because, you know, I imagine just to save the amount of weight for it to be, you know, put on an aircraft, they're going to probably try and trim it down by a lot, because it's still a very bulky weapon. So I wonder if it can still fire off, I think it was 6,600 rounds per minute.
The FA-18E Super Hornet also uses this version. The Vulcan's rate of fire is typically 6,000 rounds per minute, although some versions, such as the F-106 Delta Dart, are limited to a lower rate, and others, A-7 Corsair, have a selectable rate of fire of either 4,000 or 6,000 rounds per minute. The M61A2's lighter barrel allows a somewhat higher rate of fire, up to 6,600 rounds per minute.
You just wouldn't even see it coming. You just wouldn't, like, if that thing's trained on you, there's no chance you're going to survive that, man. It's just that the amount of rounds it fires off, unless you can get, you know, out of sight quickly, put a big bit of, you know, earth or something between you and it, doesn't look good for you, man.
Applications and first combat use. The Vulcan first entered aerial combat on April 4, 1965, when 4 North Vietnamese Air Force MiG-17s attacked a force of 10 escorting North American F-100 Super Sabres and 48 Vulcan-armed and bomb-laden F-105
all them bombs.
Thunder Chiefs, shooting down 2 of the latter. The first confirmed Vulcan gun kill occurred on June 29, 1966, when Major Fred Tracy, flying his F-105 Thunder Chief with the 421st Fighter Squadron, fired 200 rounds of 20mm into a MiG-17 that had just fired a 23mm shell through one side of his cockpit and which exited out the other side. When the MiG-17 flew in front of him after making his pass, Major Tracy opened fire on him. The Vulcan was later fitted into the weapons bay of some Convair F-106 Delta Dart and General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark.
That's a very cool looking plane. I like this one quite a bit. I like the way it's kind of hunched, like this kind of little sort of dip here. It makes it look really, I don't know, I just like it.
Models. It was also adopted as a standard in the Teen Series Air Superiority Fighters, F-14 Tomcat, F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and FA-18 Hornet. Other aircraft...
That one had taken some damage, right? Yeah, this, like, I wonder what happened here.
Hornet. Other aircraft include the AMX ground attack aircraft and the F-22 Raptor. It was fitted in a side-firing installation on the Fairchild AC-119 and some marks of the Lockheed AC-130 gunships, and was used in the tail turrets of both the Convair B-58 Hustler and Boeing B-52H Stratofortress bombers.
So it's been used on quite a few planes. I totally get it why. It's a very effective weapon.
The M61 is also the basis of the U.S. Navy Mark 15 Phalanx close-in weapon system.
Where do those bullets go? I mean, do they eventually slow down enough to go into the water? Like, where do they... Because I'm sure that you can't see all the way down to where, you know, they could possibly reach. Like, I'd love to know, when they do firings like this, what happens to the bullets? This thing is ridiculous. Man, look at how many tracer rounds. Because, you know, a tracer I think is every 6th bullet. So there's 5 normal ones. And it almost looks like the tracers are every single one, which would tell you just how quick these rounds are getting fired off. Nuts. That thing is not to be messed with. I mean, the noise it makes, I mentioned this quite a few times in the video, but that... If you heard that in the distance and you weren't an ally to America, you better run. I mean, that thing, it's just an absolute beast of a weapon. You know, 6,600 rounds a minute. That thing is just absolutely monstrous. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.